gentlemen, I don't know what this is. Come, it looks like it just came out of the basement. Master. I'm the master. Worldwide. Master. Master submitting.
Welcome back to Masterbetting. After a couple of week hiatus, we're back at you with another podcast. This is Nugs, as always, joined by my partner in crime, Ferg. Ferg, what's going on?
Oh man, just getting ready for this game tonight. Coming off a pretty busy weekend. Happy 250 America. I know we put a little Independence Day love out on the social channels, but I want to give it out right here and now as well. Nugs, America's back, baby.
It's back? What do you mean?
Did you see that flyover with the red, white, and blue over New York?
I did. Was that for World Cup, or was that just for the 4th of July?
That was for the 4th of July. I mean, it's just... What do I mean by America's back? Have you seen all of the social media posts from the people who are coming across from different countries to come watch the games in America? Did we talk about that last time?
I mean, we talked about them going to Buc-ee's. We didn't talk about them... I mean, we've talked about them, I guess, dipping their toes into American culture.
Yeah,
but...
and that's basically it, is people are just... listen, I think that there has been a narrative, and I'll try not to... I'll try not to get too deep onto this subject too much, but I think that the politics, and I guess really the American culture has taken a bit of a hit over the last, for a while now. We've been kind of taking hits out there. And people are visiting our country and just talking about how beautiful it is, all the great things that are happening, and how much they're enjoying the country. America's back, man.
I agree. I love all the positive, press. And, we are a global podcast, so welcome. Welcome to America. Welcome to an American podcast. Like I said, Antarctica is the only continent this podcast has not touched yet. So welcome to Masterbetting, where you got two dudes...
Scarves out. Scarves out today.
Scars out.
Today, Nugs.
Big night for the Yanks. We're gonna recap. They played 2 games since we last talked, but we're rocking our scarves in 90-degree heat. My studio doesn't have AC. I know that yours does. So, Ferg, I gotta tell you, it's hotter than 2 rats fucked in a wool sock and a tin roof in Mexico in here. But we come through for the people.
That's really, at the end of the day, it's one of our core principles. It's something we've talked about since day one, is we come through for you, our listeners. We come through for the people. It's just, it's something we've made one of our founding principles.
Absolutely. And Ferg, you're absolutely right. And it is fun to watch people to come over and, I guess, get over their any sort of stereotype or preconceived notion they had about Americans or about America before coming here. But at the same time, they think about Americans being cocky and, I guess, narrow-minded, but you have guys coming here and they go to Jerry World. They go to your Dallas Cowboys home turf, and they're like, wow, we thought we had the best stadiums of the world. It's like, this is better, and they're going to SoFi, and they're going to the Mercedes-Benz. Oh, forgive me, FIFA. They're going to the Atlanta Stadium. They're going to the Dallas Stadium. And they're going to all these stadiums, and their minds are blown. So I guess at the same time, it's like you guys accuse us of being, I guess, narrow-minded and elitist to our own country. But, what does that say about you when you're coming over here thinking we're about to show them, and you step foot into one of these brand-new mega stadiums, and you're like, maybe they got something going on across the pond.
Yeah, exactly. There's something to, look, we can agree and be united in a lot of things, and we can disagree and be ununited in other ways, but at the end of the day, this is still the best country on earth. And I'm not even just talking about culture. I'm talking about geography. I'm talking about, a lot of different things. We're in a great place here.
We got a lot to offer. Well,
So,
again, happy birthday, America. And in celebrating America, I guess my first question for you, Ferg, is you got all your digits. Got all your digits, all your fingers, all your toes. I guess being in Colorado, I'm not sure. I mean, knowing you probably were that guy that was setting off a bunch of fireworks in the street, being irresponsible for all the wildfires happening. But what'd you do? What'd you do over the 4th?
well, I'll tell you what. I went down to the Kewanee Street for I think maybe the fourth straight year. I've talked about it, and it's always the best. It's always the best. I did get to sit down at the back porch at the table with the Russians, the guys I told you about last year that brought out the battery. One of the single-handedly, or I'd never witnessed a better fireworks display in my life than that battery when he pulled it out last year. So I went and sat at his table, and let's just say, I think I'm kind of part of the family now.
All right.
Yep. And so, man, honestly though, it was a great day. I went to the pool. I went to the pool pretty much every day from the last weekend, but yeah, it was incredible. It was a great weekend. Watched some fireworks, drank some hard seltzers like a true American. Went to the pool. Yeah, I mean, it was an overall great weekend.
Right on. Yeah, I actually went to my first drone show, Ferg. So when I talk shit about lighting off fireworks, I dearly missed them. I'm not sure if you've ever been to a drone show. I will say it's impressive.
Maybe I've been to a drone show, but if I have, it's been. I think I've seen one, but not specifically like just a drone show. But I have seen like videos of drone shows and things like that, and it's quite impressive what they do.
Yeah, the way they're able to choreograph. So I went and it was all because Colorado. Shout out to Colorado. Is about to turn, or maybe just turned 100. Either way, they're in their 150th celebration. So it was going back and forth between America, and it's crazy how all these drones, I'm not sure how many there were in total, would morph into someone on a chairlift, to a mountain biker, to someone fishing, to a bald eagle, to the Statue of Liberty. I mean, all in pretty rapid succession, but it doesn't have the pop. You can't feel it in your chest, you know?
Right.
They just have music playing in the background, but it's just like silent movement. So it is impressive, but I did tell my wife it was probably about 10% of what an actual American fireworks show can be. So
Okay. Yeah.
I can say I saw one, but it was, I mean, I'm not mad about it, but had you want a little bit more, in my opinion.
Sure. Well, that makes a lot of sense because there is just something about a firecracker cracking.
Oh yeah. Then I guess went to a block party with the in-laws at Lakeview in Littleton. Shout out, that was always a good time. And I'd say the only artillery that they broke out was some 2-year-old sparklers from my wedding, and that was a highlight of what I got to play with as far as fireworks. I forgot how good the sparklers we splurged on for the wedding were, but still nothing compared to what you probably saw.
Okay, well, at least you got to enjoy those quality sparklers for another day.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't go to waste. But anyways, Ferg, like I'd mentioned, it's been a couple weeks since we talked, and some shit's happened. Two things. The World Cup's been World Cupping. The Americans have been Americaning, and NBA free agency. But we'll close with NBA free agency and all the miscellaneous stuff. But let's talk about the World Cup. And before we get into the Americans and the bulk of what we want to talk about, both of our dark horse picks, besides America, you had Germany and I had the Netherlands. They actually both lost in penalty kicks on a day that we typically record. So I don't know about you, but I do feel a little bit guilty.
I guess in that regard, I did think the Germans had a bit of a better chance than I guess they did. They didn't make it out of the round of 32. So, you know, it is what it is, man. They hung 7 in the first game, and it kind of gave me a little, I think, a little bit of false confidence.
Yeah, but I mean, they're, I think, tied for second as far as total World Cup victories. So, I mean, they always come with a good squad. So, they're always between, you know, they haven't had, it's not like I guess the Sweet 16 is a bad example, or the NCAA tournament, but typically it's one of the big dogs that always pulls this thing out. So, but a couple of them have gone down, but let's go back to the USA. So the last time we talked, Ferg, USA was 2-0, beat Australia, smoked Paraguay, and then they played Turkey, and I'm not sure, did you get to watch any of that game? Turkey.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, well, that was their one loss, and that was a
Turkey.
Turkey.
Oh, Turkey. Sorry, I thought you said. I misheard you. Sorry, I thought you said Turkey.
Yeah, also Turkey.
Turkey.
Well, I called it Turkey on the last podcast, and you corrected me to just Turkey. So I was trying to.
That's what makes this so funny, dude.
Yeah, well, friggin' tomato, friggin' turkey. Did you watch any of that game?
I did watch that game, and it was underwhelming. U.S. Lost 2-0. I think they had some flashes in that game that, you know, honestly, I'd probably watch with a little bit of rose-colored glasses. But from my lens, I thought that U.S. for most of the game looked like the better team. Turkey just was able to convert on a couple of opportunities.
So your memory has failed you again, my friend. So the U.S. started out that game 1-0, and they scored in the first 10 minutes. So they were looking pretty good, and they went up 2-0, but it got called back by an offsides. Then Turkey scored again within the first 30 minutes, and they had another quick goal, so it was 2-1. U.S. comes back and ties it, and then it looks like there's going to be a draw. Turkey A. Now you get me all fucked up. Turkey A. Friggin' the red star, or the white star on the red flag, they scored in like the 96th minute of stoppage time. I had pretty much reserved, started cleaning up dishes or doing something, and they scored in the very last seconds to pull out the win. U.S. still wins the group, but they did go 2-1 with 0 draws in their group. But they made it out of the group and moved on to play Bosnia. Did you watch any of that game? You want to give me your recollection of that game?
Yeah, I did watch that game a little bit as well. I was drinking a lot over the past. Anyway, you didn't ask me to tell on myself. My apologies. Why don't you tell me what you remember about that game?
All good. Well, so the U.S. just jumps out to
win that one 2-0, I believe.
Yeah, the U.S. won that one 2-0. So it's been 2 weeks, so I'm just giving you a little bit of shit. But U.S. wins 2-0. They were down a man, and we're going to get to this here in a second. But Folarin Balogun, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. So he gets a goal. So he gets the U.S. goal. That's his 3rd goal of the tournament, and then gets a red card. It gets reviewed, and he gets sent off. So the U.S. is put in a position for the last 30 minutes of the match, or down a man with a 1-0 lead. Bosnia, in their last 2 games of qualifying against Italy, and I can't remember the other team, but it was another European powerhouse. They won against a team with 1 man down 1-0 to make, and in penalties to make their way to the World Cup. So I thought the writing was on the wall that we were in for trouble. But Malik Tillman, with probably one of the best set pieces in World Cup U.S. soccer history, notches it in, and 2-0 U.S. wins. But we think we're without our leading scorer of the tournament, our best player for the game tonight against Belgium. And that was the case up until about 24 hours ago, Ferg. And now the FIFA, the soccer world, they're coming back at the Americans.
Well, I've heard a couple of takes on this. Let's get into is it Florin?
Folarin, I believe. Folarin.
Go ahead. Yeah. So, do you know the story about him?
Folarin. maybe. What do you got?
Well, so he's of Nigerian descent and spent his whole life in the UK.
Yeah.
But when his mom was pregnant with him, she was visiting the United States and went to go get back on the airplane to go back to the UK. And someone, a gate agent, someone, TSA maybe, I mean, it wasn't TSA at that time, but some security or something said, no ma'am, you cannot get on this plane, you are too pregnant. And so she ended up extending her stay for a couple of weeks. He was born in the great state of New York, well, the formerly great state of New York, and then caught a flight as a baby back over to the UK and spent his whole life growing up in the UK. So Nigerian descent, like raised in the UK, but just by chance, he was born in the United States and had United States citizenship. And so he went and played, and I don't remember exact teams, but he went and had a he was doing pretty good, and the U.S. was interested, but his home country, where he lives and grew up, of England, they're pretty deep in his position, so he probably wasn't going to get as much playing time. And so his mom kept going back to the fact that he was born in America and an American citizen, and so she kept encouraging to go play for the U.S. team. So he signs up, he starts playing with the U.S. program, and then goes on a torrid pace, scores like 21 goals in the last season or whatever, and has just been one of the hottest players in soccer over the past year. And the Americans were able to get him on basically a small little 2-week technicality.
So I did my research, my trusted Wikipedia, because I'd never heard of this guy. You hear it all coming into the tournament. You hear pretty much nothing but Christian Pulisic. I knew about Tim Way, Tim Way too, who used to be one of our strikers. He's still on the squad, but he's gotten minimal minutes. Few other guys, Weston McKennie, but mainly it was Christian Pulisic. And then so I look up Folerin, and I saw that he was born in New York, but was raised his entire life in the UK. I did not know it was such a split hair happenstance that I thought it was just his parents lived here and decided to move to the UK. I didn't realize that. Freaking God bless that gate agent.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what his mom always came back to, and she encouraged him to be part of the U.S. team for that very reason. She was like, hey, this is divine intervention. You were born in America, you have American citizenship, and this has to be the reason why. And so I got a little bit of chills just even talking about that just now, because it's a beautiful story. I mean,
the land of opportunity, baby. The land of opportunity.
look, are we poaching British players? Whatever it takes, baby. He's an American.
I mean, you hear something. Well, Malik Tillman, who did who scored that penalty kick for the U.S. against Bosnia. You hear him do an interview, and he was born in Germany to an American father, and they even called out on the broadcast. He was born to an American serviceman on a German base. Didn't grow up knowing his dad whatsoever, so his dad was out just poking around on some leave, had a pro soccer, but so he has a full, thick German accent, raised in Germany, but again, a deep German team. Probably stood a much better chance at playing time and with coming to the U.S. So, I mean, that's how I'd say half of our team is shaken up.
Well, I really like it. And, this isn't, these are loopholes, but these are loopholes that are legit. It's not like we're going out and just awarding citizenship to people, based off needing players. These are actual American citizens.
And I can't remember. I was looking at a guy because I'm like, that guy doesn't look freaking Mexican. But on Team Mexico, I can't. The only way I can describe him, Ferg, is he's black. The dark. He's black. He's got cornrows. He was born in Colombia and didn't have parents. Has no connection to Mexico. But same thing. He wasn't going to get playing time for the Colombian team or had a falling out with the coach. Went and got naturalized back in 2024. and just started playing with him in 2025. So he has zero connection. So at least, Fuller and a lot of our guys, they have some sort of connection here and there. But that's pretty cool. I didn't know that story.
All right, Nugs, I gotta expose a little bit of my schism for the sake
All
of
right.
if you don't mind.
Hit me.
We were watching. I was over at my buddy's house. We were watching a World Cup game, and it was a late one. I think it was. It could have been actually that Portugal Croatia, which they waved that goal off last minute. But I don't think it was this one. That one. It was an actual goal that stood. But the guy, for his celebration, the young urban gentleman ran into the stands, and we were all like, "Oh, he's up in the stands!" And I was like, "He's like, Mama, Mama!" And
Yeah.
for his mom, And somebody said something else, and I was like, "Yeah." And he asked his mom, he's like, "Mom, where's Dad?" And she's like, "Oh, he went to go get milk."
So I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't know. I can't remember his name. But that was Cape Verde, and they're playing Argentina, and that was one of the best. That was one of the best games that I've seen of the tournament. But that goal that he scored, in my opinion, that is the best shot of the tournament so far. That angle that it cut in, and just painted that top far corner for him as that. And then did you see that he had a penalty from the same part of the field just going the other way? Probably like 10 minutes later, hit the same strike, and the goalie last minute got a hand on it. But he almost did it two times in a row.
I know. That was a great game. For me though, Nugs, moving on, let's go America. We got Belgium coming up in about 45 minutes. This podcast will not hit the airwaves prior to that game starting. I'll tell you right now, I got the U.S. and I do have Pulisic to get a goal. I think a lot of attention's on Balogun, but I like Pulisic to get a goal tonight and the Americans to win, and that's my master bet for the evening.
I love that. I just took the Americans, but I looked at it, and it's funny you say that, Ferg. I did look at Pulisic getting a goal. He hasn't gotten one. He did have one against Bosnia, but it was called back because of offsides. I believe he's due. When he does play, he dealt with that calf a little bit earlier in the tournament, but when he does play, he's been in great form, and he's a playmaker, and he's due. So I might add that in because, you know what, you just convinced me. Peer pressure. Not even peer pressure. I just pussed out. But Ferg, no doubt, go USA.
I don't want to move on from the World Cup quite yet, Nugs. I don't know if you were about to.
No, I was going to backtrack, but the one thing I'll say about the game tonight is, so I know we talked about it I'm not sure if we did talk about it on the line. We didn't because it hadn't gotten there yet. But so the U.S. won their first knockout stage game since 2002 when they beat Mexico in South Korea. So it's been 24 years since the U.S. won a knockout game. However, but they could also be their first round of 16 win since 2002 against Mexico, because this is the first year that they've gone to the expanded 48 teams. Typically it's 32 teams, and the knockout stage begins with the round of 16. So there's one extra round of the knockout stage this year. So again, go USA, but yeah, Ferg, I'm not looking to move on. I want to talk about some other things, but I do want to backtrack and get your take on this whole red card, no red card thing, and see what you've heard and get your thoughts on it.
Well, I'll be honest with you, and I think that, the master betting community, if I tried to come across as any other way, they would probably call me out for, being inauthentic, because I don't know the rules of a red card versus not a red card, and I probably am not well versed enough in the game to know what would constitute a red card versus not a red card. I was watching the game yesterday, and I can't remember now who. It was Norway, Brazil, and the Brazilian guy, his leg went over the ball and into the Norwegian. I believe it was that.
That was England Mexico. I know exactly what you're talking about. That was England Mexico. Yep.
Which we can get into that game as well. But his leg went straight into the Mexican guy in the box, and part of me did not think that looked malicious or anything like that. But there was a guy that I was watching the game with, and he's like, "Oh, that's a red card," and I was like, "What? No way!" And so for me, I don't think that I am well versed enough in the sport to offer a true opinion on whether that should or should not have been a red card. I do think that you know it's hard right now. No, it's because you hear stories out there about Donald Trump calling FIFA and on the behalf of Belugan and or Balogun, and we we see the politics rear its head in this sport, maybe more than any sport, and so it's what I'm about to say um, is maybe counterproductive to that, but at the end of the day, I have to trust the organization. If they overturn the red card, I feel like that I have to trust that that was the right move to make. There's people that I've talked to that said that the red card should have never been issued to begin with.
Yep, Ferg. I mean, I've been, I guess, taken. My opinion's been changed somewhat just by listening to it, and maybe it's because I've been listening to American takes on it. But my initial reaction was, yeah. I mean, for the few days, my reaction was that shouldn't have been a red card. If you watched it in real time, I mean, they just landed in a weird spot. Yeah, he landed on the player's ankle, but it wasn't malicious. They were both. It was in the act of a play. He didn't slide in. They both kind of collided, and his ankle got cut under the foot. Maybe a yellow card, but I don't think it was egregious by any means. So I don't think the red card should be issued in the first place. And that was the pervading opinion. Then you hear this gets reversed, and I did feel that this got a little weird because that hasn't happened. I think the last time it happened was in like the 1960s. So it doesn't happen ever. And it's for a host team, so it just felt like something like, do we deserve this? Like, should it stand? People are all pissed off. And then everything I've heard from the outside, at least today, from the sports talk I listened to the shows I was watching this morning, it's, fuck it, we're talking about one of the most corrupt organizations in sports, talking about FIFA. It's like if anything, it's like, we've made it. We're corrupt in FIFA. Let's go.
Right.
So
We've crossed a threshold. Now FIFA is supporting America. This is nuts.
yeah. So either way, I mean, stoked that he gets to play. And another thought, and maybe this isn't through. So I guess with this, we'll see what happens here in about kickoff in 45 minutes. Pochettino, the head coach for the U.S., did say in his interview, he's like, well, we've been preparing for the past several days that he's not going to be there, so I can't promise you that he's going to play. All of our preparation has been without him, so it's good that he's allowed to play, but I'm not going to guarantee you that he's going to play. So we'll even see if he plays, but I can't imagine the top goal scorer on your team so far this tournament's not going to see the field at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. And while I do understand game preparation and preparing for your opponent, I do believe that they're probably not going over things that are going to be that too far out of his grasp to be able to pick up and be able to contribute. Like you said, he's the top goal scorer for the Yanks this year, and we need him.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, that's all I got on the subject, and we got Belgium tonight. Let's freaking move on to the quarterfinals. Go Yanks.
Yeah. I do want to mention a couple of different other topics from this World Cup. That game last night, we touched on it briefly with Mexico versus England. I thought was probably one of the best games I had witnessed in the World Cup this year.
Hands down.
I know you talked about that Cape Verde Argentina game, which I agree was a great game, but El Tri versus Three Lions last night was a spectacle, man. I mean, that referee was busy. There were so many bookings in that game. It was nuts. It was a highly and hotly contested match.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, going into it too, I mean, if I was, and I'm not sure, so let me ask you, Ferg, who were you rooting for, or who did you find yourself rooting for as the match was going on?
Mexico. I was on Mexico's side before the match. I thought they were going to advance And then during the match, I was rooting for Mexico. I thought that if I'm being honest, I was probably rooting for Mexico because of my bet and my bet alone. But I like watching them play. I thought they went down when they were down 2-0 to start.
Yep, Jude Bellingham with back-to-back goals.
Back to back, it was quick, and so I thought they kept their heads and showed some resolve and worked hard and got back in the match. But then that Harry Kane goal late was obviously the killer.
Yeah, and I was hoping that if I was an England player, even after the win, maybe they didn't want to jinx it, but if I was an England player, and maybe this is showing that they have a little bit more class than I do, but I would have been doing the napping. I would have walked around that stadium doing the napping thing, because well, not only putting Mexico to sleep, but you know what Mexico was doing to Ecuador? Ecuador complained to FIFA about this, about they didn't sleep at all because fans were outside their hotel banging drums, lighting off fireworks. Yeah. England, before that match, booked 13 different hotels in Mexico City, and it obviously still leaked out. And there's videos of, again, fans with drums and fireworks outside their hotel doing anything to keep them up. So
yeah, no, completely agree. And I get it. It's like going back to that Valugan story, or Balogun. I don't know how to say his name. No, I never know how to say these things. But I forgot to mention a key component to that is he came over, and there were rumors of him signing with MLS squad or something, and he came over, and the American fans flooded his Instagram with just comments of the American flag underneath his comments, and he said he felt overwhelmed by the fans and was like, really thought the fans, he had endeared himself to the American soccer community in such a way that they showed him, and it touched him, and it made him want to, continue to play for the Americans. And so I think kind of the same thing in this regard. I think that the fans play an important role. You see host nations always do better than expected in most World Cups, and I think the fans play a large part in that. I think this verges on unsportsmanlike and classless.
Oh yeah, and that's what when I asked you who you're rooting for, that's what turned me to somewhat root for England, because I wanted someone to shut the fans up. Not as much because Mexico, they played a good game. They are a fun team to watch. I've watched them the entire tournament because they've been showcased much like the U.S. and Canada for that matter, being host countries. But that alone kind of turned my, whatever it is inside me, turned my allegiance to the England team. So I was happy with the result, happy to shut the Mexican fans up, but it was a great game nonetheless.
Yeah,
and then
I agree.
And then one that we got to talk about before we move on. We've been talking about him outside of the podcast, and it was a little bit earlier yesterday. Is freaking that Viking, Erling Haaland.
Jeez. Norway, Brazil, that was one that I got right over the weekend. Not the only one, but that's one I got right over the weekend. And it's solely based off Erling Haaland. And he is an absolute monster. The guy's incredible. And I think he basically single-handedly beat Brazil 2 days ago. He had that header, and then he had both goals. 2-0 Norway advances, and he was as advertised. And what's crazy is I was chatting him up, talking him up to some of my friends who are not as big, haven't been paying as much attention to me as me, and even though I haven't been paying a ton of attention, but this guy, he demands and deserves the attention because he is an absolute unit and just a fun to watch. But they were like, the whole game, they were like, oh, he's really hasn't done much. And I was like, just wait, all he needs is one opportunity. He got two, and he took them both.
Took them both? No, absolutely. And if you look at the stats that he's putting up there, so in 52 caps for the Norwegian national team, he has 64 goals. That's averaging over a goal a game. I mean, you look at the U.S.'s Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan, well over 150 caps, and they're tied at 57, and that's probably not going to get broken anytime soon. Maybe by Pulisic, maybe Balogun now, but 64 goals in 52 games. He is, and I had to bet Norway money line because something was off with Brazil, and so I had Norway money line at plus 400 and Erling Haaland anytime scorer. Those obviously both hit, but he has scored now in 14 straight matches for the Norwegian national team. So if you're listening, you're going to have another opportunity. They're playing England next. Put money on Erling Haaland to score a goal because no one has been able to stop him.
No, I completely 100% endorse that bet, and I will go so far right now. If we don't see each other again before Norway and England meet, I'll tell you right now, I got Norway in that matchup as well. I think they're a beast of a team with Holland on the field, and it's must watch.
100%. I agree, Ferg. So it's a lot of fun. I'm trying to look up when that is, and I'm surprised because right now. So let me backtrack or confuse things a little bit. So when the U.S. wins tonight, they're going to play Spain. So they're going to play on Friday. So that's going to be sooner than the England-Norway game. So England-Norway is on Saturday. So I'm with you. I'm taking Norway. And Norway feels like kind of one of those underdog teams. Have only had a handful of appearances in the World Cup before with the best player in the World Cup. Give me the Vikings with Erling Haaland. No doubt.
No doubt, man. I'm with you on that for sure. Well, that's really all I had with World Cup. I mean, there's probably tons more topics we could get into about that over the last 2 weeks, but let's go ahead and move on to NBA free agency nugs. Was your phone blowing up this weekend like mine was?
I mean, phone, my watch. I mean, so I had to go, after a few days, I had to go into my settings and turn my Apple Watch push notifications from ESPN and CBS Sports because they're coincided. They come out, Shams breaks it first, then CBS rides the coattails. Either way, it's been popping off every day. It's been insane. And it all started, we did talk about this on our last episode. We didn't have a destination yet, but Giannis going to Miami was the first big news, and then it just started going off from there. Jaylen Brown, I'd say, is the next biggest name, but it's been constant.
I have to tell you, Nugs, I ignored almost any of those, and I didn't know that Giannis had signed with Miami. So Miami's putting together a squad.
Yep. So Giannis to Miami, Jaylen Brown to Philly, and then we got the Snow Time Lakers out in LA. Have you heard that?
You mentioned that. I didn't ask too many questions because I wanted to live react right here, but I have to assume he's talking about that, a previous episode, the Peruvian plow horse or the Colombian marching powder. I mean, I think we're talking about that, right?
No, we are not. We're just talking about general reverse racism here. And it's
we're talking about white guys. Oh,
yeah. So
okay. Well,
the way it's,
I wish it was the other one, to be honest. I wish those guys were just getting geeked out all the time, and that's why they were.
Yeah, well, so I texted it to you, and you sent me back two emojis, a nose and a lollipop, and I was like, I don't know if he gets it, but Ice Cube. This came from Ice Cube's mouth, what I heard. So he's like, yeah, I'll trust him. It's the Snow Time Lakers, and it's because their starting five, the way it stands right now, are all white dudes. So he's like, we went from the Showtime Lakers to the Snow Time Lakers. Yeah. It's like, how is this not canceled? It doesn't offend me. It doesn't offend me, but you're making a nickname on a team based off skin color. If we did it the reverse, Ray, and I don't even want to start to even put that out in the universe on this podcast.
Are you talking about the nappy-headed hose of Rutgers?
Yeah, that's a great example.
He got canceled.
Yeah.
That guy, I can't remember his name now off the top of my head. I could come up with it if I put a little thought in it, but he was a big-time player, and he got canceled for that.
Yeah.
I hear that from that guy again.
immediately. And granted, I will say it is more of a, you don't see it every day or really ever to have a starting five of all white guys in the NBA. But still, that's what they're talking about, the Snow Time Lakers with Luka. Austin Reeves signed a big deal. Now I can't remember. Oh, Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz was their big pickup. And I'll tell you, the Utah Jazz got more for Walker Kessler than the Boston Celtics got for Jaylen Brown, which I thought was pretty mind-blowing.
I thought you were about to bring up Luka.
Did I? No. But, yeah, so the Snow Time Lakers, which I thought was podcast-worthy material to bring up. Yeah, just a little bit of reverse racism.
Definitely. Any other big signings that stand out to you? I know there's someone who hasn't signed and doesn't intend to sign that stands out to you. We can get into that if you don't have any more hot goss to drop on us with the free agency.
I don't. The last one that I saw that came across my phone was Rui Hachimura is re-signing, or he's signing with the Clippers. Excuse me. I thought Lakers because I saw Los Angeles. He's going to the Clippers. I don't really care. But the headline,
2 years, $28 million though.
Yeah.
It's something crazy like that for Rui Hachimura. Yeah, crazy.
So I will say through all this, and there has been speculation that with Jaylen Brown, that there was talk of Jamal Murray being traded to the Celtics to get Jaylen Brown back here. There's been rumblings about that, but the biggest thing on the Nuggets, I guess, horizon is, given what they did in the draft and their lack of doing anything, granted they don't have really any sort of capital or bargaining chips right now, is re-signing Peyton Watson, which they have an offer extended. He hasn't signed it, so I'm not sure what that looks like. But the headline that I saw right before we got on and started recording is Nikola Jokic is not going to sign his extension this summer and is going to wait till next year. And what that's going to do is I was already like, oh, I trust Jokic because he says I want to retire a Nugget. I want to retire a Nugget. But in doing this, I start to catastrophize and think the worst. Now, there is the element where if he doesn't resign until next year, he can re-sign with the Nuggets as a free agent and still make the most amount of money possible. But in the back of my head, I wonder, does Jokic want to see what they're going to do in the front office and the pieces that they're going to put around him? And is he positioning himself to go elsewhere? I mean, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And quite frankly, when you mentioned that in our pre-production meeting, I did immediately think to myself, well, Nuggets are on notice. Got to do something. Keep your guy. I think that I agree with you in the way that I believe Jokic, and when he says he wants to retire a Nugget, and I know that he has really the fans love him here. It's a great experience being a superstar in Denver, so I'm sure he's experiencing all of those perks and benefits. And, that the Nuggets took the chance on him. I mean, I don't think anybody, when he got on draft day, was like, this guy's going to be the greatest player on the planet. So the Nuggets did a great job of letting him reach his potential. So I don't see him wanting to leave, but I do see him wanting to leave if the Nuggets don't make a splash and provide some things that he probably wants them to, whether it be a coach, whether it be a supporting cast, a better supporting cast, whatever it is, Nuggets are on notice.
They are on notice. And so there's two things known about Jokic. He does not care about the limelight, but he does care about winning. And he is quoted in saying he's at the FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament this summer, playing for Team Serbia, and what he said is, my idea is and desire is to stay in Denver. I'll probably sign next year. The word that stands out to me is probably. Don't love that word. I'll probably sign next year. My desire is to play the rest of my life in Denver. So Jokic has not given us any sort of a reason to discredit him, but I do think that there's, he's not stupid. I think he is watching, and like you said, the Nuggets are on alert. Now, I will say, this is just speaking for me as a Nuggets fan, if we lost Jokic, it'd be ground zero, the worst thing to happen to the franchise. However, I feel like I would be at some sort of peace with it because what we got from Nikola Jokic was so unexpected and so great, and we had a championship when I thought the Nuggets would never win a championship, given the nature of free agency and how the NBA works and how Denver's performed in free agency. They never get a big free agent. You talk about AI or Kenyon Martin, the big names to come to Denver over the past 20, 30 years. Those weren't free agents. Those were trades. So what we've gotten is we're on borrowed time. We got a gift. And if he stays, I would love it. I want it. But at the end of the day, I would be more than grateful for the past 12 years we had with that guy, what he brought to Denver.
Understood. And, it's a little different when it's a player making a choice rather than a team trading up a generational talent for a broken big man.
Yeah, that's right. So I could always have I could always come to you for to console. Well, Ferg, we are up against it, but a couple things I wanted to touch on real quick because we don't have a lot of other news in sports. However, with that NBA free agency, of course, we have a legacy that's going to be affected. LeBron James, yeah. So the Nuggets are on that list. So I don't think the Nuggets have a realistic chance. I bet you he's going back to Cleveland. But actually, Ferg, I thought about this today. This would be, and we've barely grazed the surface. These prediction markets, Poly Market, Kalshi, the two big ones. I think this would be a really fun avenue where you could place a wager on where you think LeBron's going to sign.
Well, and let's talk about this too. I know that LeBron and Steph are, have become close over the years and whatnot. But when you think about a win now situation, why not go play with the best guy? So you might even want to put that bet on Denver because I don't know. Maybe that's the reason that Jokic isn't signing right now, is to leave space for LeBron.
Yeah, we'll see, but that is something to be talked about. So, anyways, again, a legacy to be affected. And then Ferg, before we get going, the only NFL news is I guess we had a royal wedding here this past weekend.
I couldn't wait to talk about that. Did you hear who officiated it?
Adam Sandler. I thought it was a joke at first, but Adam Sandler. Yeah, well, I guess that Happy Gilmore 2 part for Travis Kelce was really fundamental in their relationship.
Bro, I think it's a sideshow, and I wish the happy couple all the best in saying this, but I don't give a fuck about their wedding. I don't give a shit about it, like, one bit. I like to make fun of certain topics about it because I think it's an interesting thing. But at the end of the day, I'm like,
did you hear you got Andy Reid his own table with 12 plates for dinner? No, but I thought that was funny.
Fucking hilarious, dude. I was like, no way, did they 12 plates?
Yeah.
No, it's a sideshow and it's fine. I've been well documented on this podcast that I'm not really that big of a Taylor Swift fan, and I think it's also been well documented on this podcast, and I'll go ahead and confirm each of these in case these are simply rumors right now, but I am neither a Travis Kelce nor a Taylor Swift fan per se, but I'll also I'm not like on some kind of anti-agenda against the two of them. Wish them the best. Good luck.
Godspeed.
It's hard enough being fucking married. Yeah, being married in the spotlight. I wouldn't wish that probably among anybody, or upon anybody. So, best of luck to the happy couple.
We'll see how it plays out. Well,
Let me
Ferg,
tell you, Nugs, if I had made the guest list, I would have been there. No doubt about it. And I would have probably dominated the dance floor.
well, we'll probably catch the next wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll catch the next one.
Love it.
Well, Ferg, it's been a pleasure, and I can't reiterate. So I know we talked, typically we talk a little bit more, but the only bets we got, and I think we're in lockstep, Holling, goal on Saturday.
Yeah.
Put it in. Norway.
There's no way to win. Yeah.
And then U.S., Pulisic, go U.S. I look forward to talking to you after a U.S. win before the quarterfinal. So, let's go Yanks.
Hey, baby, let's get it.
As always, follow us on Facebook, Masterbetting, Instagram, Masterbetting 5280, YouTube channel, TikTok. Check us out, subscribe, and show us your bets.
smash that like button.
Smash, share.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, gentlemen, we love seeing your bets. Ladies, this isn't just for the guys either. Show us your bets. Show us what you're working with.
Show us your bets. All right, Ferg, it's been a pleasure. You know what time it is? Grill Pop, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what this is. What looks like it just came out of the basement. Master.